Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we are going to be discussing one of the most intriguing topics out there, ghost fears. The thought of a ghostly presence around us can be both fascinating and frightening. But what if we told you that some of these ghostly experiences can be explained by science? In this video, we'll be exploring the scientific reasons behind some of the most common ghostly encounters. We'll look at the psychological, biological, and physical factors that may play a role in these spooky experiences. By the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of how the scientific community views ghostly phenomenon. So, let's dive in and separate fact from fiction. Wake up, you're not alone in your room. Or maybe you are, and it's just your imagination playing tricks on you. That's right folks, we're talking about sleep paralysis and the spooky feeling of being paralyzed while you're awake. But don't worry, we're not just here to scare you. We're here to explore the scientific explanation behind ghost beliefs and fears. So, get ready to uncover the truth behind sleep paralysis and learn how to avoid waking up to an imaginary ghostly figure sitting on your chest. And who knows, by the end of this video, you may never be scared of ghosts again. But you might never want to sleep again either. What is sleep paralysis? To understand why sleep paralysis is often mistaken for a ghostly encounter, we need to first understand what sleep paralysis is. Put simply, sleep paralysis is a state where your body is temporarily paralyzed while you're still conscious. It happens when you're between stages of sleep and wakefulness and can last anywhere from a few seconds to several minutes. During this time, you might experience vivid hallucinations, a feeling of pressure on your chest, and an intense feeling of fear. The ghost connection. So, why do people often mistake sleep paralysis for a ghostly encounter? Well, it has to do with the vivid hallucinations and intense fear that often accompany the experience. Imagine waking up in the middle of the night, unable to move, and then seeing a strange figure in your room. It's easy to understand why someone might jump to the conclusion that they're being visited by a ghost. The scientific explanation. But the truth is that sleep paralysis is a completely natural and scientifically explainable phenomenon. It's caused by a disruption in the normal sleep-wake cycle and can be triggered by a variety of factors, such as stress, sleep deprivation, and even sleeping on your back. So, while the experience of sleep paralysis can be frightening, it's important to remember that it's not a ghostly encounter. Next one is one of the most mysterious and misunderstood experiences known to man is out-of-body experience. Have you ever heard someone say, "I felt like I was seeing myself from the outside"? Chances are, they're talking about an out-of-body experience or OBE, and of course, the first thing that comes to mind is ghosts, right? Well, what if I told you that this strange experience might have more to do with science than the supernatural? It's all thanks to our trusty mirror neurons. These little guys are responsible for helping us understand and empathize with others, but they can also play a big role in our experiences with OBEs. You see, when our brain processes sensory information, it creates a sort of inner body map to keep track of where we are in space. But sometimes, this map can get a little wonky, leading us to feel like we are watching ourselves from the outside. And because we are wired to respond to other people as if they were us, we can easily start to believe that there's something ghostly going on. But don't worry, you don't need an exorcism to get rid of your OBEs. Simply understanding the science behind them can help you overcome your fear. So next time you have an out-of-body experience, just remember, it's probably just your mirror neurons playing a trick on you. In fact, some people even claim to have had spiritual experiences during OBEs. So, if you ever find yourself floating above your body, take a deep breath and enjoy the ride. Well, that's it for this episode on mirror neurons and OBEs. And remember, even though the science behind these experiences is fascinating, it's always a good idea to keep an open mind and never rule out the possibility of a ghostly encounter, just in case. This chapter is about EMF detector. EMF detector is a device that measures electromagnetic fields in the environment. EMF fields can come from a variety of sources, including electrical wiring, household appliances, and cell phones. Here's a funny story to illustrate the use of an EMF detector. A ghost hunter goes on a mission to find evidence of paranormal activity in an old, supposedly haunted mansion. He brings along his trusty EMF detector, which he uses to scan the rooms for any unusual spikes in EMF levels. As he's wandering through the mansion, the EMF detector starts beeping like crazy. The ghost hunter gets excited, thinking he's finally found proof of ghostly presence. But then, he realizes that the beeping is coming from his own cell phone, which he had accidentally left on in his pocket. Moral of the story: always double check the source of the EMF before jumping to conclusions about ghostly activity. So there you have it, an EMF detector can be a useful tool for ghost hunting and investigating paranormal activity, but make sure to use it correctly, or you might end up with a funny story like our ghost hunter. Have you ever seen a face in the clouds or heard a voice in the static of a radio? This is called pareidolia, and it's a phenomenon where the brain perceives a familiar pattern in random stimuli. So next time you think you see a ghostly figure, remember that it's probably just your brain playing tricks on you. In this chapter, we are going to talk about infrasound and ultrasound. and how they are often mistaken for ghostly activity. Infrasound and ultrasound are both sound waves that are outside the range of human hearing. Infrasound is below 20 Hz, while ultrasound is above 20,000 Hz. Many people believe that ghostly activity can create infrasound or ultrasound waves, and that these waves can cause people to feel uneasy or experience strange sensations. But the truth is, infrasound and ultrasound can be generated by many natural and man-made sources, such as wind, earthquakes, waterfalls, and even some types of machinery. So, before you jump to the conclusion that ghostly activity is causing a strange sensation, it's important to consider all of the other potential sources of infrasound and ultrasound. For example, have you ever been in a large concert hall and felt a deep rumble in your chest? That's infrasound. Or maybe you've experienced discomfort from a dog whistle, which produces ultrasound. In conclusion, infrasound and ultrasound can certainly cause strange sensations, but it's important to keep an open mind and consider all of the potential sources before attributing it to ghostly activity. Well folks, that's a wrap on today's video discussing the science behind ghost fears. I hope you found this information as intriguing as I did. It's amazing to think that our minds can play such a huge role in creating the frightening experiences we associate with ghosts. But it's important to remember, just because something is not scientifically proven, it doesn't make it any less real to those who experience it. I hope you enjoyed this first part of our series on ghost fears. In our next video, we'll delve even deeper into the topic, exploring some of the most interesting chapters of this fascinating subject. From the history of ghost hunting to the latest scientific studies on the paranormal, we've got a lot in store for you. So, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on the next exciting installment. Until then, stay curious, stay open-minded, and don't be afraid of the unknown. See you in the next video.